y'all, I'm Hope at Crafty Hope here, and welcome. It is time for the week 45 mixed media prompt project for my challenge, which is hashtag Crafty Hope prompts. This is a challenge I created and started back in October when I recognized that there are 52 playing cards in a deck and 52 weeks in a year, and that gave me a great opportunity to do a weekly challenge in which I altered a playing card. To kind of get me going with that, I made a list of I made a list of 156 prompts, and each week I'm drawing 3 of those prompts and altering that playing card. So each side is altered, and both sides use those 3 prompts to alter them. This past week, for week 45, or this week, I pulled the prompts receipt, crackle paste, and green, and used those to do both sides of this card. In addition to the cards, I'm also using those same 3 prompts to do a different project, and that varies. It could be some kind of little art piece or tag, or what did I do this past week? I did a tag. It was super cute. I will link to it up here. But I've done assemblage projects and jewelry and all kinds of various things. You can find all of that, the cards and the prompts, in my playlist at the end, along with anybody else that's played along using that hashtag or by tagging me. You are welcome to also play along. You can use the prompts that I pull each week, or I've got that full list of 156 prompts below that you can use any way you want. I just ask that you tag me and use that hashtag Crafty Hope prompt so I can see what you're making, and maybe I get inspired by what you're doing. So that's the long and short of it. If you have any questions about any of that, let me know. If that wasn't clear, please ask away. I know I said I'm on week 45. That means I've only got 6 weeks left. But you are welcome to join now and play along. I might continue it next year and do something else. I'm not sure. I might try a different thing. I don't know. Right now, we're just going to get through this and see what happens. So let me tell you what I've pulled out for this week. For receipt, I have a little bit, oh, it looks like I've gotten some resin or something on that. That's funny. I have pulled out some of the leftover receipt pieces that I used on this card. So I figured they're sitting here. I might use them. I might not. That yellow definitely lends to a certain vein. So we'll see. I may not use them. I also have this, which is like a ticket or receipt. I picked a pack. I think I have 2 packs, but I can only find 1 right now. I picked them up at a antique store forever and ever ago, but it's from like a hair salon where it's got haircut and style, hair tint, bleach, toner, facial, eyebrow, manicure, and yeah, I consider that some kind of receipt. So I've got that, and it is also green. And then I've got this, it says rent receipt on it, and it's just, how cool is that? I don't know how old these are, but I think they're pretty neat. So I've got those 3 things. I could probably go pull something out of somewhere else if I needed to. Yeah. So that's what I've got. For Crackle Paste, I did order me some new Crackle Paste. This is an opaque one. I hadn't even opened it yet, y'all. This is the Ranger, the Tim Holtz Ranger Distress Crackle Paste Opaque. So let's, I'm going to go ahead and open it while I'm thinking about it. I, of course, have the other 3 clear Crackle Pastes that I had when I made the card. Oh, I'm having trouble with this. Let's see. And then, so that's what I have for Crackle Paste. Mostly, I'm going to try this one out. I want to remind you, I'll probably say it in my voiceover as well, that Crackle Paste, for the most part, needs to air dry. If you have a Crackle Paste like this, you can heat dry it, but the crackles just are not as great. Also, Crackle Paste is not, you can interpret this prompt any way you want. There are other methods for crackling. There's one, I think, with Vaseline and paint. There are other crackle mediums you can buy, and I think I just got reminded by my friend Terry that there's a technique in which you use like white school glue and paint over that to create a crackle. So you'll have to, and again, look all those up. I can't tell you the definite techniques for them, but I know they exist. So if you want to add some crackle, you don't have to go buy this crackle paste. You could probably use something that's already in your stash. You could even use an image of something that is crackled. So think about that. Just think of the word crackle maybe instead of crackle paste. All right, then for green, I actually, first I pulled this out also from my friend Terry. And I have some ribbon too. Oh, I might grab that. That she alcohol ink dyed this tissue paper, and I've got some ribbon she did as well. I may go grab that also that are green. I have the ticket, that's the other side of this ticket that is green. And then I've pulled out all my Distress Oxides, Lucky Clover, Cracked Pistachio, and Twisted Citron. Those are all green Distress Oxides. I also have some inks as well. I have some stains. I've got all kinds of distress products. But then, of course, I have paints and pencils and art crayons and all kinds of things. On a whim, I pulled this out with just some hardware tape of some kind. I just picked it up at the Habitat Restore. I think, what's today? Today is Saturday. So on Thursday I had a reveal of my thrifty haul, and this was in it. So you can go watch that also if you're so inclined. All right, guys, I'm gonna what I am going to work in today, I should probably tell you that real quick. I hardly ever use an actual art journal. I usually just use junk journals because I find art journals to be a bit intimidating for some reason, but I have tons of them. In fact, this one I went and pulled out, and it is from like 2017. It's probably the last time I used this art journal, and it's got some like prepped pages. Look how beautiful that is in it. But I think I'm just gonna go for a blank page, see what I can do with it. We shall see. I am not sure at the moment. So wish me luck. We're gonna get to this, and I will voice over the rest of this process. Geez, y'all, I was super chatty there. I apologize for all of that. That was like 7 minutes of me talking. I hope, oof. Yeah, sorry. So because these white blank pages are so intimidating, I decided to go ahead, instead of starting with my usual collage, we'll get there. There will be plenty of collage. You can see that stack I've got over to the left of me. I went in with some white, not white, what color is that? That is gray. I think it's like an apple barrel. Just a light gray acrylic craft paint, smeared some with my fingers, brayered some out, and yeah, moving around some of my stacks of things. And I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll start collaging here. So I'm like looking at my papers, and I decide I need a little something more, I think, on the background. I even pulled my glue out, and I was like, no, it needs something else, some movement. So there is my Stabilo all pencil, and I'm just scribbling, y'all. Super crazy scribble one side of the page to the other. And I will activate most of it, not all of it, because it's Stabilo all, and it's going to get activated probably as I do things. The excess, you can see I'm splattering just straight on the page, and I will dry this super quick before I start my collage. Now, I believe I've sped this collage up quite a bit, because I really took my time with this. I enjoyed the process, picked up the materials, looked at them, spread them out, and just, yeah, I've got that's one of my favorite. I went through because I realized I was keeping like all of these old gift cards and key cards and things like that. And I had this huge stack of them that I just didn't need. And I went through them to see like which ones I felt like I needed to keep and all of that. And that is an old Blockbuster gift card, so I had to keep it. And granted, it's covered with paint and all of that, but it feels like it's a relic. So it's staying in my stash. I'm not going to frame or anything, but it's just one of those things I just can't bear to throw away. Whereas some of the other ones, I'm like, yeah, that Starbucks gift card will be fine in the trash, that kind of thing. So I am simply using my Oohoo glue stick to get these pages down. And you can see I've got a little bit of have I put the receipt down? I did. I put one of the green receipts down. And now I've got this green tissue paper from Terry. I believe she uses an alcohol dye to do these. I'll actually bring in one of the ribbons she made also that matches this green later. So here's that white rent receipt, or at least the edge of it. I'll put that in there, and I'm gonna put a link to Terry below, at least her Instagram, so you can see some of the other awesome things she makes as well. So yeah, and here's that other receipt. I'm trying to make sure I've got green in, I'm getting my receipt in. And y'all, I did this one morning knowing that I needed to go run some errands, and I had to take a sip of coffee. I was still drinking my coffee. That's how early it was. And that my crackle paste needed to sit and dry. So I'm kind of sticking this all down, knowing that crackle paste is going to go on top of all of this, though I wasn't sure exactly how or what I was going to do. So I think I'm getting towards the end of this. I really wanted to make sure that my collage started, and you could see I kind of started this in the middle, and I'm expanding it, and I want to make sure that portions of it touch each edge. It doesn't have to be all the way around. I have found with these blank art journals that I feel a lot better about them if I leave a bit of white space, especially like the corners and things like that. It doesn't feel so all encompassing. When I put it over the whole spread, it's too much for me. So I've got that Lucky Clover Distress Oxide out, and I was going to bring a little more green in here and one of my hand carved stamps. And yeah, so I'm just going to stamp this in several places over. This is one, I consider it my lotus stamp, but if I turn it upside down, it kind of looks like a full flower. So, or maybe it's more like a water lily. I'm not sure. It's just a floral kind of inspired. I wanted some texture is all I really wanted. I'm going to bring texture in here in all the ways. Get ready, y'all. It's not just going to be crackle paste and visual texture. It's going to be brought in all the ways. So here I am just stamping. I don't know why I didn't speed this up, because I really took my time getting this down. I am filling up a little bit of the white space that I left on here with the stamping, but I do like to have some of that visual white space in my, like I said, mostly in these art journals, not so much in my junk journals. For some reason, the art journals, especially this one, is white and not the usual dilutions, kind of off white creaminess. I don't know. Anyway, so I've got my stamping. I think, was that my last one? No, I'm going to do one more, just, for good measure. And from there, I'm going to pull out my new crackle paste. And y'all, when I open it, it's got that little peak when I pulled the top out. It was just so perfectly yummy. Oh, wait, no, I forgot. Haha. I'm kidding. Just joking. I realized I hadn't used any of that hardware cloth, or I keep wanting to call it hardware cloth. It is not hardware cloth. It is like a drywall joint tape of some kind, if I'm not mistaken. It is not super sticky. It is self-adhesive, but it's not super sticky. So I knew I needed to put some other adhesive down. So I'm just using that same Oohoo glue stick and rubbing it kind of in the general area where I want to put that joint tape. Yeah, so I'm just putting the glue stick there and sticking that on top of it. No big deal. And I'm trying to cut, when I cut it, with some organic kind of shapes. Nothing, I don't really like the structured shape of it. That's something that I think my friend Nina Fickett pointed out not too long ago about using organic shapes. And so I was like, you know what? I like to do that too. And there's where I've opened that brand new crackle paste. Now it's a bit thinner actually than I was expecting. It's less pasty. I mean, it is a paste, but it's kind of like a lotion, like a thin lotion maybe. And so it spreads really beautifully. It's not going to pile up or anything. And I'm using my palette knife. I'm trying to make sure I get some thick areas and some thin areas. If you've never worked with crackle paste, again, let it air dry, but also know that where you have it thicker, your cracks are going to be bigger, and where it's thinner, your cracks will be smaller. So there's another crackle paste information. And I'm just getting this down on here. I didn't have a rhyme or reason. I did make sure I went over all the areas where I had put down that textured tape, as well as over a couple of the areas where I had stamped, because I knew that Distress Oxide would be activated a little bit by the paste there. And I started to step away, but then I realized what I really want to do is activate that distress oxide. So I come back in real quick and just spray that. And I walked away. I didn't air dry anything. I didn't want to mess up my crackle. I walked away, ran my errands, and now I am back. And the crackle is beautiful. I'm sorry I didn't give you all a better look at it. I was ready to get started on this. And I pulled out some that is gold acrylic paint. It's Modern Masters. I think the color is Olympic Gold. I'll have a link to it below to the it'll be an Amazon link. I am an Amazon associate, so if you purchase by clicking that link, I do get a small, very, very small percentage, but there's no extra cost to you. That's my disclaimer there. But I wanted to pick up the texture of both that tape I had put down and the crackle. So I am very lightly kind of dry brush technique using my finger to go over all of those areas, the crackle and that drywall tape. And then, because I can't help myself, I'm going to get a little more of that gold paint in my palette with a very wet paintbrush and splatter, just to make sure I get that gold kind of elsewhere on the page. It's very yummy. This gold paint it's a little pricey. I think I found it on clearance somewhere, and I'm so glad I picked it up because it's a really fun gold paint. Okay, so I have gunked up all of the grooves of the top, and so it was hard to get on. So I will dry this, and as I looked at it, I was really frustrated with how bright and white everything still was. So I was like, this really needs some darkening, it needs some grunging. How do I want to achieve that? And well, instant coffee is my answer. So I have a yogurt cup that has some dried up instant coffee in it. I simply reconstitute it with couple spritzes of water or a wet paintbrush or whatever. And I really should have added some more coffee and some more water into this, but I was making it work. And so I'm putting this around on my page. I'll splatter it as well, but I'm getting in some of the grooves of the hardware cloth and some of the wider areas and some of the crackle over that gold paint, all of it. It was, it's really yummy. When you see the close-up shots of this, and I'm going to give you quite a few of them at the end, you'll see how amazing this is. I still felt like it needed, and I want to say more visual texture. And so I pulled out this is some kind of bow bunny texture stamp with some script on it, and my Stays On ink, and I'm just going to randomly stamp that texture stamp around on there. I think I need another stamp. This one's such an odd shape. It works. It's fabulous. I don't know if I could find a link for it or not for you, but any kind of text stamp would have worked for this. I just needed that on there. And once I get it down, I decide I need maybe something more organic. So I use another Bow Bunny stamp that has almost like a chicken wire shape to it. So once I get this, I'm going to stamp that off, look at it for a minute, and then grab the other one. So here's that one, and here's the other one. And I like these stamps. I picked them up, I believe, at my local scrapbook store that has closed in the last several years, which makes me so sad. It was always so fun to go and explore. But places like that, my bead stores have all closed. It's all just big box stores now, and it makes me so sad not to get to go and explore places like that. I do love a shopping excursion. I think that's why I like thrifting so much, is that they're still open. All right, so this is getting spread out and around, again, adding some texture in the spots that don't have the texture from the crackle or that joint tape. So, and that spot, kind of in the middle where the green is, the chicken wire look was very heavy, and I don't know, I couldn't figure out how to fix that. So I knew I needed some kind of image, and went and grabbed my Tim Holtz paper dolls, and almost immediately found this couple and was like, yep, they're the ones I want. So I then remembered that ribbon that I had from Terry and was like, let me go grab that green ribbon because it matches that green paper I've got on there so nicely. So I grabbed that. And I'm just arranging things. I've got another receipt there. I've got that rent receipt. I'm looking for the rest of that receipt there and my ticket. So I'm going to start layering all this stuff up, trying to come up with with me, I don't know what it is. I am compelled to put a focal, some kind of image, and then a sentiment. Or, sometimes it can be just a focal or just a sentiment, but there has to be some kind of thing. I don't do a whole lot of, I don't know, just basic pictures. I mean, things that, yeah, I'm not good with the purely abstract pictures or pages. I have to have words or a picture or something. I'm working on it, y'all. I'm working on it. So to finish off this paper doll, I knew I needed to ink the edges some, so I'm using some walnut stain distress ink. I'd used my ink dauber, but it's not great at getting in all the nooks and crannies, so I have this little, it's like a makeup eyeshadow spongy thing that helps get in some of those things. And really, I just wanted to get the edges so that they weren't so white and bare. And I probably could have done that over on my little stack of paper there as well. But those receipts are so thin, it's kind of hard to really do it. So I'm going to put my other stack of paper dolls back up real quick and come back in. I had to get that out of there. My desk was so crowded. And I'll use Fabri-Tac to, I'm not going to put this ribbon down very tightly. I just kind of want to tack it down. So I'm going to put a little bit on the end here and stick it and then stretch it across my journal. And because that was the thing, is as this journal gets thickened up, I don't want this ribbon to be pulled at too much. So I tacked it down in another spot there, and then just a little bit toward the middle. And this may still pull apart later. I may have to come back in the future and stick it down better, but for now, yeah. And really with the ribbon, I wanted it to be something that this couple were sitting on, because they're obviously sitting, and it just felt like I needed a line of something that would allow them to rest. So I played with that for far too long, and now I'm going to use the Fabri-Tac. These paper dolls are kind of heavy, so I like to use a heavier glue of some kind. A matte gel would work just as well, but the tip of the Fabri-Tac makes it really easy to apply and not get it all over the image. So I'm going to weigh this down with this odd little thrift store find I have. And y'all, I've got like earrings that I've recently made that need to go in Etsy or one of my shops sitting there. But that was like, okay, don't lose them. Let's keep them all together. I'll use, since these other little receipts are just paper, I'm going to use Oohoo to stack them together. And yeah, I think I end up looking for that ticket because I decided I needed something even more green, because that like olive green of that other receipt is fine. It just didn't quite go as well with some of the stuff like the oxide in the background and all that. So I'm going to start moving all that around, looking at it as a whole before I stick it down. I go and look for a sentiment, and I grab, oh my gosh, hold on. What does that say? It's my small talk stickers, and I looked at them for a while. I kind of cut that out so y'all didn't see it. But I looked at them for a while and picked out a sentiment and realized that ticket was really kind of standing out. And if I put the sentiment over it, you could still see the word ticket. And I didn't really want that. I just kind of wanted the color of it. So I'll use a little cheesecloth over the top of it to obscure that, and then stick my little sentiment down. You'll see what it says at the end. I can't see in my little viewfinder thing here. I am going to use the Fabri-Tac to stick down the cheesecloth, and then stick down the whole stack with the Fabri-Tac, just because it's sticking to that ribbon and and that chunky bit of textured. Now I do add Oohoo to the back of the small talk sticker, but I will have to add just a little bit of Fabri-Tac to either end of it, because all that texture from the cheesecloth and everything, it makes it very hard to to stay down. I will also grab my Stabilo All pencil again. I've got the scribbles way back there in the background, and use it just on I think the right and underside of my couple there to give them a little bit of shadow. It's not a huge thing. I just needed a little bit for them to stand out more, and I have some of the black that I've got kind of going on the background as well as the sentiment. So at first I had to sharpen it, of course. So now I'll just go around them, and then I will grab a small paintbrush and activate these guys. And that'll be it for this journal for my mixed media prompt project week 45, using receipt, Crackle Paste, and green. I had no idea this is where this would end up, but y'all, I am in love with the texture that is in the background of this page. I hope you can get a good look at it, and I hope that you're going to play along with me, either with the prompts that I use or by pulling your own from that long prompt list. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe. Ask any questions that you've got. I would be happy to answer them, to have a conversation with you, and build this community some more. Oh, I am going to add just a little bit more texture over at the bottom because I didn't think there was enough by them. Okay, I think that's everything. Thanks so much for coming by and watching, and I will see y'all very soon. On Monday, I will have the prompts for week 46. See y'all later. Bye.